Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tip. My name is Julian, and in today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to talk about their players, and if I think you should draft each individual player coming up in your fantasy draft. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'd really appreciate it, guys. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subs this year, so every subscription really counts. Thank you so much, guys. Without further ado, let's jump into my projected lines for the Pittsburgh Penguins. On the top line, we have Guentzel, Crosby, and Rust. I know Crosby's going to miss the first couple of games of the season, but once he gets back, that should be the line. On the second line, we have Zucker, Carter, and Kapanen. On the third line, Dominic Simone, Evan Rodriguez, and Danton Heinen. On defense, we have Dumoulin, Letang, Matheson, Marino, Pettersson, and Friedman. And in nets, we got Jarry and DeSmith. So jumping into the players I'm going to be talking about, and first and second on the list are Sidney Crosby and Jake Guentzel. Do I have to convince you to draft either of these players? I don't think I should. These guys are elite talents. They're going to be playing alongside each other on both the top line and the top power play, and they're both going to have amazing seasons. Don't be too concerned by Crosby's injury. He's only going to miss at most the first game or two of the season, so draft him as you would normally. Next is Kris Letang, and he has a huge value considering he has a relatively late average draft price. If you watched my top 50 players video, you can watch it right up there. I have him in the top 50 players for fantasy this year. There's always a risk with him because of injury, but last year he stayed healthy the entire year. So if you waited until his ADP to take him as your first defenseman, I am absolutely fine with him as your number one defenseman in fantasy. Next is Evgeni Malkin, and where Malkin is currently going in drafts, you can get Natchez, Perron, Nylander, Pavelski, guys who are not injured for 2 to 3 months like Malkin is, and they're definitely going to outproduce him. So I'm going to stay away from Evgeni Malkin this year. Next is Bryan Rust, and right now looks like he's practicing on the third line, but I think when Crosby comes back, they reunite that Crosby, Guentzel, Rust line, so I'm not too concerned. Last year, he had a great season with 42 points in 56 games, and he shoots the puck a lot as well. I like Bryan Rust this year. Next is Tristan Jarry, and he's being drafted as a number 23 goalie off the board right now, which I think is insanely late for him. Last year, he still won 25 games, had 2 shutouts, and had a pretty decent save percentage and goals against average. Not the best in the world, but he was pretty good last year. And he's playing on a really good team who's going to continue to win a lot of games. And his backup, yeah, he's good, but he's not going to take over. There's no chance that DeSmith takes over the crease in Pittsburgh. So Jarry, he's one of the biggest steals in my opinions at goaltender. So if you even waited to take your very first goalie and take Tristan Jarry, and then maybe the next round or two later, take a guy like Jacob Markstrom, you're pretty set in nets and you didn't waste early picks on goaltenders. I like that a lot. Next is Jeff Carter, and Jeff Carter managed to produce 9 goals, 2 assists in 14 games after he was traded to Pittsburgh last year. The thing is, he had a 24.3% shooting percentage after being traded to Pittsburgh, so like hold your horses, that's not going to continue. Don't expect that to continue, please. That being said, he's going super late in drafts, and both Crosby and Malkin are out, and Crosby's only missing the first couple of games, but should he be able to produce a lot of points in those first couple of games? And he should be able to, because he's going to be top line and top power play in all likelihood. After those first 2 games, right when Crosby's about to come back, if you drafted Jeff Carter, you could potentially trade him away to someone who doesn't know any better and get some value there, right? And listen, if you don't want to trade Jeff Carter after the first couple of games, even if he does do well, he's going to be Pittsburgh's number 2 center this year behind Sidney Crosby, at least until Malkin gets back. So he should be able to do pretty well regardless. I don't mind Jeff Carter in fantasy this year. Next is Kasperi Kapanen, and I project him getting top power play time for the first 2 to 3 months of the season, as long as Malkin is out. I think that as long as Malkin is out, he's going to get that top power play time. It's not confirmed, but I think he could be a real steal considering how late he's going and the opportunity that he should be getting, especially to start the year. I like Kasperi Kapanen this year. Next is Jason Zucker, and I understand with all the injuries in Pittsburgh, he's going to be pushed up the lineup a little bit. And there was a time that he was decent in fantasy, but he was never that amazing. So I don't expect that to change too much. So I'm going to stay away from Zucker in fantasy this year. And the only other guy, I don't have him written down on this list, that might have some relevance in fantasy is John Marino. I think if Letang were to go and get injured, it would be Marino who probably mans that top power play for Pittsburgh. And if that does happen, he's worth a pickup only if Letang gets injured. So if you own Letang right away, as soon as he does get injured, if that does happen, you can grab John Marino. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through the video. I really appreciate it. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.